Today we're going to talk about floor price. When you go to an NFT collection, you see a buy now option, a number 3.04. We're going to talk today about what that number means, how much it actually costs for you, and how we get to that number. Okay, let's jump in. In order to really just cut everything short and what is the floor price, it is the cheapest price that one person is willing to sell that NFT for. So the cheapest price, let me just type that for you. The cheapest price that one person is willing to sell their NFT for. Okay, so what is the floor price? It's the cheapest price that one person is willing to sell their NFT for. So right now for Giraffe Tower, which is our collection, the cheapest price is 3.04. Now, I'm on a website called Tensor. It's one of the websites that I use regularly for my NFT purchases. You can notice right here how the price breaks down, but if you go down to the bottom right corner, you'll notice this number right here that says sold price, and it's 60.67. I'll just mouse over that right there. It's right at the bottom right. So what you do in order to figure out the price is you take the price of Solana, which is 60.67. So if I just open a calculator, 60.67 times 3.04, which means right now, in order to buy one giraffe on the floor price of a giraffe is $184.44. So $184.44. Now, look, it's not really $184.44. It is today if you're buying Solana today. But the way crypto works, let's go back here. So we have this thing here called, oops, wrong option. Let's go here. Let's grab this. So we have Solana, and we have, if I just copy this and put it here, we have Giraffe. So Solana equals right now, if I go back to the bottom, 60.67. Just put it here for us, just so we have a number. 60.67. Now, Giraffe equals 3.04 SOL. So, which means if we copy this and we put this here right now, right, if we just do the match, just so we have clean numbers, that means we're at $184.44. But let me break this down for you. Solana changes in price every second. In order to buy a giraffe right now, it costs 3.04 Solana. Now, you might have bought Solana at $15. And in that instance, if you would have bought $15 Solana, then you would pay roughly $45.60 for a giraffe. Now, you could have also bought Solana when it was $100. And if you bought Solana when it was $100, then you would be paying a little bit over $300 for a giraffe, right? So depending on when you bought the underlying token Solana, that will determine what it cost you to buy a giraffe, which is 3.04 Solana. If you buy it today, right now, that's going to cost you $184.44. Okay, so the way this works, it's really, really simple and easy. And in order to showcase this, I need to draw a little bit for you. So let's go here and let's just get a circle. So let's pretend that we have this circle and let's mark it green. Let's go ahead and give ourselves, let's give ourselves just a couple of these circles. All right, here's a couple circles. All right, so there's some circles. So we got 5. Let's copy this and let's get 10. Let's get 10 circles. So let's all pretend, you and I both, right? Everybody here. Let's all pretend that these are houses, and we're in a neighborhood, and we all want to live in this neighborhood. And if it's green, that means it's available and we can buy it. Okay, we can buy this. So let's pretend that someone comes in and they buy this house. Perfect. Now, these are all 3.04 apiece. Someone comes in and they buy this house. 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 Someone comes in, they buy this house. They're all 3.04 piece. They're just buying. We're down to the last one, and the last one gets sold. But let's imagine that your friend misses out. We have the coolest neighborhood. We've got the coolest cul-de-sac. We all hang out. We have a good time. If you're into kids, we got all the kids in the world. If you don't like kids, there are no kids here. Let's just pretend that these are your 10 dream neighbors, or your 9 dream neighbors, because one of them is you. Right? You're in this, maybe you want to be out in the country, and that's great, and there's only 10 houses within miles of you. These are the 10. Maybe you want to be in the city, and there's only 10 apartments in the one building that you live in, and these are the 10. So, all of these sold for 3.04. Right? So they're all sold out. They're all sold out. So at this instance, the floor would be priceless. There's no availability. But someone says, well, I paid 3.04 Solana, which I was really happy with. I bought it. I chose to do that. I was excited. I bought the floor. But now there's no more available. And see, I'm over here. I was the first one to buy, and I don't really like these last 3 people as much. They're okay, but they're not great. So I want to move, and I want to go somewhere else. So they decide that they're going to make theirs for sale. But when they make it for sale, they say, well, it's not going to be 3.04 Solana. It's going to be 10. So I'm just going to put a number here, 10. So now the only way you can buy one of these, let's just call them apartments because that's easy. The only way you can buy one of these apartments is if you have 10 Solana. So if we do the math on that, Solana's $60.67 here on our little guide. So that would mean that in order to buy this, it would cost me $600. But wait a minute. I just paid $184 a few minutes ago. Supply and demand. Let me write those 2 things here for you. Supply and demand. Let's move this just up here. So let's talk about supply and demand. Supply and demand is what, I don't know how to center this stuff. There we go. That'll be good enough. Supply and demand is what determines the price. When there's high supply and low demand, price goes down. When there's high demand and low supply, price goes up. Okay, so in this instance, there is all the demand, everything was sold out, and there's only one supply. There's only one available in supply. Price is at 10. But now let's imagine that this person comes in and they say, let's say that this family right here, they decide that they need to move. They get a new job and they're going to move. So they're going to sell. So let's turn them green. But they don't want to sell for 10. They want to sell for, let's find them a number. They need to sell fast. They're moving. They got a new job. They're going cross country. So they say, well, I paid 3, so I'm going to sell for 6. So now our floor is no longer 10. The floor goes to 6. And you may say, but well, wait a minute. I want to get 10 out of mine. That's what I ask. And you can, because your house is unique. You have done remodeling. You have put a paint job on it. It's unique. It's special. And it's one of only 10. So now you have a choice to make. The floor is now 6. All right, let's go ahead and grab one more just so we can have a nice little guide. Let's call this the floor, just so we know where we're at. So right now the floor is 6. Okay? Well, 2 people are moving. What if someone says, man, this sucks. I only wanted to live here because these were my 10 best friends. We're in one apartment building, 1 apartment per floor. We've got the best amenities, the best location. Everything's amazing. And I only wanted to live here because my friends live here. I don't want the randos that are going to move in next. So then this person says, I'm going to sell too. And they say, I'm out. I don't need the money. It's no big deal to me. I'm out. I'm going to sell for 4. I'm not willing to take a loss, but I don't need to make much money. So in this instance, now we are getting into an oversupply moment, right? We're getting a lot more supply, green, than we have demand. We don't have anybody buying. All right, so what's going to happen? Our floor, right, the cheapest price, floor is the cheapest, is 4. So in order for our floor to go up, right, in order for it to go up, we have to have someone buy this one. Now, it doesn't stop someone from coming in and buying number 6, right, or buying this one for 6. Doesn't stop someone from coming in and buying this one for 10. Maybe this is the penthouse, and maybe it's baller, and maybe it's worth it, right? Maybe this is the one that's right next to the, I don't know, the amenities, and it gets loud, and maybe it's not. It's on a low floor, and nobody likes it, right? There's all kinds of criteria that play out here. But at the end of the day, it's simple supply and demand. So now let's imagine that all of these other people, right, they live in these apartments and they're like, fuck, we got 3 spots available. Let's get some amazing new people to come in. So we get someone and they come in and they're like, I want the penthouse. And they buy the penthouse. And they buy it for 10. Floor is still 4 because the cheapest price is the floor. But what we did is we took a little bit of the supply out. Now there's only 2 left. Now if there's only 2 people in the world that want those, there's plenty of supply. But if 3 people want those, right? If this person says, oh man, I got to get one of my friends to move here. And if this person's still trying to get their friend to move here, and this person's still trying to get their friend, and this person's still trying to get their friend, and then all of a sudden now, before you know it, this one gets sold. That one's now red. It's sold. Now our floor goes to 6. There's only 1 left. But they say, oh, there's only 1 left, so I'm going to sell for 15. Because the last one sold, there's nothing else available. So now the floor goes to 15. And there's only 1 available. So the floor price of an NFT collection is not the value of the NFT, right? The person who paid 4 down here didn't all of a sudden miraculously, or this person just paid 6 a minute ago, they didn't miraculously double in value until someone pays that. And when someone pays that, it will set the new floor. Because when someone goes to list, if we go to Giraffe again for a second, they're going to make a choice. They're going to say, do I want to sell fast? And if they do, they're going to sell as close to the cheapest one as possible, maybe even less, because they want to be the next one to sell. Someone who wants to sell a little slower, they don't need to sell fast, they might, right, list way up here. There's Giraffe listed for way more money, right? They're different, they're unique, they have a different paint job, they have different traits when we go to NFTs, right? They look different. When you own it, you can sell it for whatever you want because it's yours. So does the floor price matter when you own it? No, because if you bought your apartment, right, if you bought this one right here, you don't care what it cost. You own yours, you bought one, you wanted one, you got one. You don't need to worry about anything else. So now, let's say that this last person that moved in, they're just assholes. Nobody likes them. And this one turns green, 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 and this one turns green. They're all for sale. Not at 15, but at 3. Right? Just at 3. They're all for sale back at 3. They're like, look, we just want out. We want out. That one's at 4. This one's at 2.9 because they're willing to go a little bit less. This one's at 3.5. So what's going to go now? Now you have a lot of supply, a lot of green. Our floor is way down to 2.9. This person up here says, fuck it, I can't sell. It's not going to work. They just hit the button. They're done. They delist, right? So they completely delist. We've got a bunch of 2.9s, a bunch of 3s, right? So slowly they get a friend to come in again, right? The community says, hey, would you want to live over here with us? It's great, right? Or maybe a new person comes into the market, they move to town and they tell their realtor, I'm looking for a great apartment, or they browse around and they look, they walk the streets, they go to the marketplaces, right? They might go to Tinder and they might look at collections and they might start browsing around, right? That happens a good bit. They could go to X, right? They could go to X and they could be on the timeline and they could start just literally cruising the timeline, right? Looking around, seeing what profile photos people are wearing, seeing what strikes them, seeing what speaks to them, right? Doing a little bit of research, right? And they're like, okay, I'll buy one, right? So I'll buy. So they buy. So they become red. So it's not for sale anymore. And then we go to this one. So now our floor is at 3. All right, so now our floor is at 3. And then we go to this one, and this one turns red again. That's great. Our floor is still at 3 because we're still at red. Then we go to this one, and our floor turns, right? We're still at 3. We go to this one, go to here, go to red. We're still at 3. And now all of a sudden we go to a 3.5. And now we're sitting here, and we're at a 3.5, and we're at a 4. There's nothing else for sale. Now, we know that in the past, this one up here sold for 6, if you go back in the video. We know that. So now, this 4 person says, well, I got a little bit of money. Okay, so let me do a little bit of math for you. Let's put math here. Let's put a little Post-it note down here. Let's give us a little Post-it note right here. And let's say 4 plus 3.5 equals 7.5. They say, well, I've got some money, and I want to make an investment. So I don't want to sell my apartment for 4. I want to get 7 out of my apartment. But I'm not going to get 7 out of my apartment if I also have this one sitting here at 3.5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy this one for 3.5. So they buy it, right? So now they bought the original one. Now they've got this one at 3.5. So they've got 3.5 in it. They've got this one at 4. They say, I'm going to take mine to 8, and I'm going to relist this one. Relist. And I'm going to relist it for 7. And now, whenever those 2 are sold, 7 plus 8 equals 15. So now they can get 15 out of that. Our floor is now 7. And they stand to make a 7.5 sold profit because they bought and they sold. Now, let me just be frank with you. It can change here. Supply and demand can change really, really quickly. And it can go fast in NFTs. Really fast, right? Really, really, really fast. Somebody could buy it and they could hold it for 12 seconds. And they could sell it again. Somebody could buy it and they could decide they don't like it and sell it immediately. Somebody could buy it and they could hold it for the rest of their lives and never sell it. So supply and demand is constantly changing. The floor price is the cheapest price. The floor is the cheapest price that one person is willing to sell. And if you want to move the floor, the way you move the floor is you buy the floor, just as I showed in this example, right? When we bought this one and we took the price, we bought it and we raised the price. So if we come in here, right, and I hit the little button and I add the little checkout option here, and if we say, well, there's 3.04, there's 3.04, what if we buy both of those? Well, that would be at 6.08. And then we could turn around and sell them for higher, and there's a potential opportunity to make money. Now, it doesn't mean we make money, right? There's nothing that says we make money. But what it says about NFTs is when you own it, it's yours to sell at whatever price you choose to sell it at. So if you buy it for 304, that's what it costs right now, 3.04. If you buy it for 3.04, you are allowed to hold it for life. You are allowed to sell it for any price you choose. You are allowed to give it to anyone in the world you want to give it to. It is yours for life. Do whatever you want to with it, including selling it for cheaper than you paid for it, never ever selling it and just holding it and admiring it or using it, or selling it for more than you paid for it to someone else because they desire it. And you're able to make a profit in the middle, just like we talked about you could do here, selling your real estate with these 10 apartments. So I wanted to take some time today and explain to you how the floor price works. Moving into Web3 is just tough, right? It's new, it's weird, like it's 3.04. What is this thing called Solana? How much does it cost? How do I understand it? So I wanted to break it down, something very simple, something easy that everyone could understand. Right? The floor price is the cheapest price that one person is willing to sell their NFT for. Anyone in the world that owns an NFT is allowed to sell it for whatever price they choose. They could sell it for a loss or they could sell it for a gain. It is 100% their choice. And in order to sell it, you have to have a buyer, just like in those houses. And if more people want to sell than we have buyers, then the price will normally go down. And if more people want to buy than we have sellers, the price will normally go up. Hope this helped you, and I hope you now understand what the floor price is.